Yep, and I definitely have to fix some shit.
Oh God.
Oh, wait, nope. Wasn't that big of a deal. Alright, cool. We're live. Hello,
Hello,
everybody.
everyone.
What's up? I am Zach, and with me, as always, here on our Wednesday Daredevil Talks, the final Wednesday Daredevil Talk, for a
Yes.
little while. I think we'll probably come back for, like, Ironheart or something.
hmm
Is Arash.
Hello. Yes. I'm here every week. I've been here the whole time.
Except for that one time you were late.
Yeah, except for that one time, but I had a good reason. I forget what that reason was, but I had a very good reason.
But let's not bury the lead right now. We're talking Daredevil today. And
Yes, we are.
specifically, we are talking the season finale of the show. And in addition to that, the series overview, just as a whole, what we thought of the first season and our
hmm
predictions going forward for season two.
Oh yeah, we got a lot to talk about. That episode had so much crammed into it. I thought it was gonna be like. I initially was just like, this episode's gonna be fucking crazy, but I didn't realize how crazy it was gonna be.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I could see a lot of people. I haven't seen a lot of outward dislike for the way it ended. But as soon
hmm
as they were like about to run in and infiltrate the docks, I was like, "There's only 10 minutes left in this episode." Uh, some people are going to be really upset that they didn't
There's no
complete
like
that
final
rapier.
confrontation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm glad to see a lot of the reaction to it was pretty positive, despite it being kind of a not an anticlimax, but like it was subdued compared to what we saw earlier this episode.
Definitely a cliffhanger, if anything. Like
I think it's a
absolutely a
good
cliffhanger.
cliffhanger, though. It works. I think they
Yeah, it
wrapped up a
does.
lot of the questions people had from earlier this season, but left just enough for people to like question more.
hmm
Which,
Especially one of those questions that you have that we're going to discuss a little bit later. That I know a particular theory that you've been liking.
well, it's a
Rebel says this.
theory that yesterday I
Mhm.
was kind of down on. Oh, my
Right.
audio's a little low. Let me fix that for you. That should be about better. Um,
hmm
well, like I said, we were discussing my theory last week, and then this week, I after the episode, I was kind of like, all right, well, that was a bit of a wet fart. Like that was a bad call on my part. But I was scrubbing through the footage again and
Yes.
rewatching it. I think I might be right still.
About a certain other lawyer who may or may not have some questionable allegiances.
But we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah,
As far
we'll definitely get to that part.
the episode though, like, and I just said this in a video I'm about to put out. I'm getting very strong Andor vibes from the way everything ended
hmm
and how things are going to go for the future. And I think what I'm gonna do actually is for the we have an empty space there because we not working today. Uh, Nope, I can't use that, so I'm just gonna. All right, what I got here is the episode discussion, kinda. Oh, I don't know why it's like that right now, but I'll fix that in a moment.
hmm
And yeah, I think I'll kind of put up the bits we're gonna talk about as we go. But yeah, you know what? It doesn't even look like it's gonna let me do that. So never mind. Scratch that idea. Bad idea. Bad idea.
Hey, maybe for season two.
Yeah, I don't know why it wasn't working with me. I don't. OBS has just been being real weird today. Very picky.
Yeah,
Um.
you were cursing to yourself before we went live. You're just like, I'm gonna do something. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna do something.
Well, cause the thing is, I had to fix everything for the X2 server or for the X2
Right.
stream, And then I was like,
Yeah.
do I run the risk of changing this all and screwing it up for Thursday so I have to do this all over again? And I was like, nah, this is the last one. I'll work on it before we start doing this again. And I'll try and make it work a bit better. But
Mhm.
that's not what the people are here to listen to right now. They want to know thoughts about the season finale. I keep wanting to say series finale because all of these Netflix or all of the Marvel shows so far have felt like series finales rather than season finales.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to fix with that little serialization thing.
Well, the episode begins first of all with a flashback to Vanessa Fisk bailing out um Bullseye. I wanted to call him Benjamin Poindexter, but I can never bring myself to say it fully. Bailing him out and requesting that he kill Foggy Nelson because he is involved in. Well, we don't find this out there, but he's essentially given the targets of Benny, who was on the phone with Foggy, and Foggy.
Yeah.
Which do we know?
And
Benny is still alive, right?
yeah, nobody has confirmed his off-screen death, so I'm assuming it was just Foggy that was like first. But she asked for Benny to also be like eliminated as well. So I'm assuming that like well no, Bullseye got incapacitated by Daredevil before he could even go and get Benny. So I'm assuming Foggy was first, then it was going to be Benny.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
Hmm.
So this character is out there, and I don't even think we've ever seen him on screen. I wonder if
No,
maybe
we have never. No.
that could be Matthew Lillard's character possibly,
Could it? Yeah,
because
probably.
he does. We do hear him on the phone, but he doesn't have a cast member.
No, you might be right. I think that might be Matthew Lillard's character because I think if you remember, Vanessa said something about him having some secret or something that might put a light on her business stuff. So
Well,
that might be the Red Hook
yeah,
thing that they're
that's the
talking
big
about.
reveal is that it is about the Red Hook Pier, and
Hmm.
we'll get to that when we go down. But I think it does answer the question that everybody was kind of asking last week of why he shot at Fisk and not at Vanessa, because that was his original target at the end of season 3.
Hmm.
And I think it does a good job explaining it. She appealed to his humanity, kind of, and they kind of ended things on better terms. So, but at the end of the day, Fisk is the one that Bullseye wanted to get rid of. So taking the shot at him makes the most sense. I also think they explained Matt's reasoning for taking a bullet for Kingpin pretty well, where he's just like, I don't know why I did that, basically.
He's like, I don't know. I just heard gun and I reacted. That's all he said.
Well, I'm talking about
When we
too
did.
when Frank Castle asked him.
Oh yeah, yeah. Even he can't explain it there. I think that was like a lapse on the writer's part.
No, it seems
Like they
like
wanted to.
it's one of those things where it was like he did the right thing. In his mind, the right thing was to take a bullet for somebody, but at the same
Mhm.
time, he's just like, yeah, I could have just like let him get shot, and that would be that. Like that would be the end of our problems. But
Oh, absolutely.
he can't do that. Like he talks about it at the end of the episode, so we'll jump back to it. But he talks about how he thought he was immune to the darkness, and that led to him throwing Dex off the roof. But
But also,
clearly
it's
there's something deep down where he's still compelled to do the right thing and to not, murder, not fully given
you
to
can
the darkness.
you can see some of the visage also like dissipate during this episode as well. During the like apartment fight scene, you can see it.
What do you mean?
But we'll discuss that. So when you see Punisher just like absolutely doming those guys in there, and Matt's just like, Frank, no, but not like stopping to fight him in the middle of the fight. he just keeps saying like, "You can't help yourself, huh?"
Well,
And like
that is
essentially just
kind of
chews him out.
that is basically their relationship in the comics, and because it's an immovable object versus an unstoppable force kind of thing.
Mm. It definitely is. It's they're always going to be two sides of the same coin, but just on dealing out vigilante justice, it definitely just kind of seems that polar opposite thing between
So
them.
this is what I think about as far as what they were doing before the rebuild with Frank's character, because everybody said that his appearance in episode 4 was definitely post the creative overhaul because he just didn't want to do what they originally had planned for the character beforehand. But I
Hmm.
really, I mean, him not showing up at all up until this point again, completely new look back to what they had. He looks just like he did in the original Daredevil series.
After shaving a haircut, yeah.
Yeah, and something tells me that original bit of footage with him was pre-creative overhaul. I still get that vibe because it feels like there was more that they were planning on doing with that they just never
Oh,
did.
definitely. Yeah, they had a bunch. There's some questions in there that kind of still remain a little unanswered, or the question wasn't exactly clear, and the finale definitely just wrapped it up. You're saying like, well, all right, I guess we're just gonna wrap it up like that.
Yeah, certain things
Because
like
Frank seemed a little, he
yeah.
seemed a little like uninterested in going after anybody like we initially saw,
But
and
I
then in
also
this one,
feel
he's just like
I
going
feel
home.
like this episode confirmed the fact that he was retired as Punisher.
No, I feel that. Yeah, he definitely had that retired feeling until Karen called and pulled him right back in.
Well, it wasn't
Which
even
I
just the fact that he was living in a fallout shelter, and I it seemed like they were making it pretty clear that he didn't leave the shelter very often.
he was just always underground, like making bullets.
Yeah, well, he had his armory there in case he ever needed it, and he was just kind of like living as a just kind of a
As a
hermit.
prepper. Yeah.
But
Deep.
as
Hmm.
the episode went on, Matt Murdock was just shot, so he's pretty underpowered considering everything they're up against this episode, which I was surprised he even suited up, really.
Yeah, he was favoring his right hand the entire fight because he got shot in his left. So he couldn't even go full on. He was using his billy club a little bit more as well.
And in addition to that, before the episode went live, I think it was 30 minutes before, the Daredevil Twitter account posted uh, a GIF or short video clip of the Get Well Soon bear going through the
Hmm.
hospital with just like an unknown person carrying it. I assumed that was going to be Frank Castle showing up at the hospital, but that
And it
wasn't the
turned out to be
case.
Buck.
Yeah, it
It
was
turned out to
Buck
be Buck.
who is getting very clearly wasn't originally supposed to be a big part of this show and then suddenly became more he started playing a bit more as the show went on.
He was Fisk's right hand man, the guy that could get his hands dirty when Fisk couldn't,
So
or until Fisk did
but
multiple times.
with this episode and especially the last, it makes the season feel very uneven. Do you agree?
Hmm.
Where it's
A
like
little bit.
yeah, where it was like clearly they touched up a few things in a couple different episodes, and I didn't even hate this. I didn't dislike this season really. I liked most of the episodes. I think the only one I didn't really care for was the episode 7, the Muse wrap up.
Yeah, definitely seems like they were just wrapping up that storyline, and they had to dedicate a whole portion of the episode to just kind of being like, "All right, he's dead. Maybe let's move on."
Yeah, and the big part of the whole creative overhaul are the
Mhm.
directors of this episode, episode 1 and episode 8, which I believe it's Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead. And they're going to be taking a much larger role in the production of season 2. And I think they're directing half of the episodes, I want to say. But
Yeah, it said in the Wikipedia page that they were directing a bulk of the episodes, but they are pretty much overseeing the entire
yeah,
season.
I
So
think they're the
yeah.
primary writers of the show from now on. But
And from like the way that some of the cast were talking, they're saying like, "Oh, it's a better oiled machine." It's like, what the fuck happened on the last season's like production? Like, who was in charge of that before
well,
they
it
overhauled
was
it?
the shooting of the season was interrupted by the writers and
Writer's
actors
strike,
strike.
yeah. Mhm.
So there was that whole thing. But I feel like that probably benefited the season in some ways.
Well,
I
yeah, because they had a chance to look back at the footage and be like, "Oh my god, this doesn't work."
A part of me really wants to know what that original show was like, though.
It was going to be a legal procedural, apparently without serialized elements, from what all the interviews are saying. So we were going to see Daredevil doing more legal cases and not as much Daredevil stuff.
Yeah, and so continuing with the plot of the episode was the Wilson Fisk essentially is trying to weed out everybody around him, trying to figure out who's going to be loyal to him and who isn't. And uh, Sheila, who is his main publicity person, what is that her role? Or she's like
She's
what?
like his legitimate government contact, where she'll be
She's his
like, "Yeah, I've
assistant.
been in here for a long time." Yeah,
But
essentially.
so she's assistant to the mayor's office, and she's kind of been the main character in the office, acting as like the main pushback. But in this
The
episode,
guardrail.
she makes her full turn. She
Heel turn,
fully,
yeah.
yeah, she fully goes in on trying to appeal to Fisk.
Yeah, by selling out Gallo, of all people.
And we will get to Gallo. We will.
Yes. Yeah,
um,
definitely. I see some people in the comments are just like, Gallo coming back like Angstrom Levy. Gallo comes back as Muse in season 2. We'll get to that. We'll
Gallo
get
is
to that.
going to come back as a corpse floating down the Hudson River.
Oh god, with his head spiraled off like one of those like little pastry like things. You know what I'm talking about? The
Yeah, I know exactly
what
what
is
you
it called?
mean.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, god. Anyway, let's stick back to the thing.
Yep.
So Matt is almost attempted to be poisoned by Buck,
Which also
and
that's another thing is a lot of people were like, well, Kingpin is essentially put up against a rock and a hard place. Like he can't touch Matt Murdock now because he saved his life publicly. Uh,
yes,
but that's not the case here. Kingpin is just like, yeah, this is a new opportunity. Let's just go finish the job and get rid of Daredevil.
yeah, he's in a hospital bed, all vulnerable, and he's blind. Why not just to go in there and snuff him out?
But I will say, I think that is definitely what that was the weakest plan of theirs so far was to just sneak into the hospital where Kingpin is pretty aware of Matt's abilities.
Daredevil's bad. Yeah, he was talking during the dance, like last episode. He was just like while he was dancing with Vanessa, he was speaking in a regular voice because he knew Matt was listening in. He's just like, "Oh, hey, by the way, I know you're in here doing this." Like that was kind of funny. Also, during him ordering the hit out on Matt, he does pretty much just spell it out to Buck that he is Daredevil. Like he
I
said,
think
like he's
that's pretty common knowledge between Kingpin's like closest allies.
yeah, not Daniel Blake doesn't know that yet. Most of the other staff doesn't, but like anybody who's been in the crime world knows fully well that Matt is Daredevil.
Yeah, and even the anti-vigilante task force seems to be pretty aware of that, which is where we go to the next part of the episode. Matt Murdock leaves the hospital and returns to his apartment, where who's waiting for him there but Frank Castle.
Yeah, and saying you ain't got no goddamn coffee, Red. It's something like that. I can't do a John Bernthal, but what's his obsession with coffee? By the way, he brings that up twice.
I think he's like because it was a big part in the Netflix series. I think he doesn't drink, so it's like his vice.
His vice is coffee. His vice is like pulling an espresso shot.
Well, yeah, that's a pretty common thing for recovering addicts.
Oh yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I can't. I'm kind of chuckling, like imagining Frank in line at a Starbucks about to order like a double no cream or some shit.
But also
Could you
the
imagine that?
giant cookie in chat also raised a pretty good point. Frank doesn't need sleep much. He probably needs coffee to stay sharp.
Oh yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, that
But
makes sense.
but one of the things I think so Punisher shows up. Daredevil hears the task force coming, tells him like, "Can you not kill people?" And Frank Castle's just like, "Shut the fuck up." Like,
No, Red,
no,
I can't.
I'm
Nope.
absolutely going to kill people. That's what I do. But
That's his whole thing.
so we get a pretty solid action sequence where Daredevil is trying to just take out everybody in non-lethal ways. Meanwhile, Punisher's just shooting everybody.
Oh yeah, when he domed that first guy in the back of the head, I was like, "Oh my god, this is great." Oh no. Uh,
And
yeah, straight through
yeah,
the back of the head. Awesome.
so then we get so the fight wraps up. Awesome fight scene. I think it was the best one in the season. Would you agree?
Yes, yeah, pretty great.
I did think prior to this that I thought the Muse fight was okay. The best fight scene before this, though, just hand to hand, was episode 2, Matt Murdock versus Officer Powell and the other cop.
In the oh yeah, yeah, in the room where he's like trying to get to the witness before
Yeah,
they do.
that's the one.
Oh yeah, where he goes all close combat on them, then screams out because he had to be Daredevil again.
Yeah, I thought that was probably the best hand to hand combat action. I did like the beginning, the opening of the season, but yeah, I really liked this fight scene. It was short, but it was brutal, and
Yeah.
it was heavily focused more on the Punisher though compared to Daredevil. Like the two of them were working together, but Punisher owned this scene.
He did. Of course he did. He pulled back into action, and while Matt's trying his best to knock out these corrupt cops, like Frank's just going in there, like blowing the brains all over his countertop. Like nobody's gonna focus in on that. And also, I feel like it's a little bit of of Disney just kind of being like, "Hey, Daredevil's here. We're giving you him." But also, Punisher is also here. If you haven't seen him, this is kind of what he does. He just goes in and well, shoots them up. That's it. That's his whole thing.
Yeah, and the fight sequence ends with and I know a lot of people are upset with the characterization of Cole North, the officer who it is revealed killed Hector Ayala.
Yeah. He's like, do what you gotta do.
And,
I always hate it when those motherfuckers say that. I always hate that. Do what you gotta do.
but Cole North is a character, and I see this on Twitter a lot from comic fans.
Mm-hmm.
A character who a lot of people like in the comics, and they viewed his character here as not as good as what we got in the comics. I think it's left intentionally unclear whether or not he survived, though.
I mean, the entire apartment gets blown the fuck up. So if he does survive, he'll be very, very scarred up. You know what I mean? Burnt up, something like that.
Yeah, almost
Who blew
like
that up, by the way?
almost
Who had
like
a grenade?
it was somebody in the task force. They went back up there.
That's okay. So
But
they just
but
blew up
one
the apartment and then go chase him?
yeah, one thing I will say though is if he was up there when it detonated, who would somebody that was caught in an explosion, what would they look like? They'd kind of look like the comic version of Muse a little bit.
They'd also probably look like Crossbones from Civil War, wouldn't they?
Well,
He looked
Crossbones had
pretty.
a building drop on him.
He looked pretty messed up though,
He did,
like
but
pretty
he
bad.
was still
Yeah.
recognizable, I think. But yeah, a lot of people are upset with his characterization in the show. I thought he was fine. But then we get probably the biggest fanfare of the episode is not when Punisher shows up. It's when Karen Page shows up.
Yeah, they
Which
played the original Daredevil tune
I
when
have
she
to
pulled out of the
say,
car.
it was an awesome moment, but I was just like, I love the fact that everybody is probably pumped up and excited for Karen Page coming back right now. Like, Karen Page got the better introduction comparatively.
Hmm.
But I
Then
mean, like,
fucking Frank.
it made me happy to see her. I
Yeah,
missed Deborah Ann Wall.
I did too. She's a smoke show. But so the thing is mainly one thing that I found kind of funny in that scene as well is when they fell out of when they jumped out of the apartment and fell down to the ground below. Something that was really funny was when they landed on that car, you could hear John Bernthal literally say it like the way he screams is kind of funny. He's like, and he just landed on the car. I'm sorry, I had to rewind that like a couple of times because that was pretty fucking funny.
Those are all of his screams, though, and I think that's the best part is that this show did not hold back. It was just like every time Frank Castle yelled, it's always that.
That's just John Bernthal, but that's oh man, I love him so much, dude. It's so good. It's so
Yeah,
good. But
really happy he was back. I thought he did a great job this season, and I'm really excited to see his special presentation. Now, I've seen a couple people upset that he's not getting a full show, but
mhm.
I like the special presentation format a lot. I think it allows a lot more creativity with what they're actually going to do with the format itself, and it offers the opportunity to give a bigger budget to a shorter form, uh, basically movie.
Also without, you know, it's the easiest way to solve two problems without giving the character a full 2-hour movie with the potential of a franchise when they don't have any intention to, or giving the character a series instead of just saying, "Oh, it's 6 episodes and that's it." Just doing the special presentation condenses down a little bit of the story that they want to tell, which probably this time is Frank escaping from the Red Hook facility and going back to help Matt. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's that whole explanation there,
I
right?
was when the post credit scene popped up. What did you think it was going to be right before we got? Well, actually, we'll save that for later. We'll put a pin
We'll
in that
get to
for
that.
later,
Yeah,
because right now we
we'll
have
get
to
to that.
talk about the fact that Fisk shut down the power grid for New York City, framing it as a vigilante is going after him and going after people in the city. There are riots in the streets, and meanwhile, Matt and Karen do some detective work, some Daredevil Netflix series level detective work.
They're going through, looking through old pages. They find it, and the second Matt said the word "city state," I was like, "I fucking knew it! I knew it! I said it! I was gonna do it! That's it, baby! I was justified! Vindication!" Even though this was already in the comic books,
Yeah, I was gonna. I was like,
like you told me.
I'm glad your predictions were right. Like, I am really
Yeah,
glad. But also, I
yeah.
think everybody was kind of on the same page with what he was doing there.
I mean, everyone was pretty much like, "Oh, is he gonna take over the city?" And I was just like, "He's gonna do martial law. He's gonna try to turn it into a city state. He's doing this for other reasons. He's wrestling back power from other things." I just didn't assume the Red Hook stuff because I wasn't really paying attention to that aspect.
Well, also
But
we
knowing
didn't
how
really
guys like that work,
we
yeah,
didn't exactly have the information to discuss that because we didn't know what was going on with Red Hook. We didn't realize that it was going to be some weird legal issue where it's not even considered part of the United States. Like,
which is weird, right? You think that they would have covered that, but okay.
I think that the thing is, I think they could have telegraphed it a little bit better if they put it through. If they like
Mhm.
continued that storyline and weaved it through each of the episodes, but they were kind of they had their hands tied.
And I feel like we're also at the portion of our recap where Ted Gamer 121 says, "Have you asked where's Spider-Man?" And we had a discussion last night about that. Like we were texting each other during the episode, and I had a whole video about it on our channel right now. But I was basically saying like, where the fuck is he? He better be in the fucking Phantom Zone. And then I initially realized, oh wait, the camera just doesn't need to focus on him, but he's still out there doing stuff. Like these characters don't just blip out of existence in this world that's living and breathing. We're just focusing in on certain portions of their career.
But also, I'm kind of wondering what's going on with Spider-Man right now, because we do know that he has been acting as a hero since the end of No Way Home, which I think I established as like 3 or 4 years before this.
Hmm. Yeah.
And he could be just taking care of petty crime. Um, and yeah, who really knows how he's going to be involved in this? Maybe, like, I saw somebody say that they could just do something where in season 2 they just show like some Fisk goons webbed up somewhere. Uh I don't know what they could do here, because in the comics, Spider-Man plays a really interesting role for Devil's Reign.
He's out there in Queens. He's doing something. That's what I explained in the video.
Well, he's not
He's
even
the
in Queens
neighborhood.
anymore.
Where is he then? Chinatown?
He's in Midtown.
Oh, Midtown?
Yeah,
Oh well.
that's where
I fuck
when he
I fucked up that I fucked up that detail.
in No Way Home, at the end of it, he moves into an apartment in Midtown Manhattan.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm
He
gonna
swings
change
outside
that part.
Rockefeller Center.
See, Zach, I don't live in New York City, so I don't know where shit is. I thought that was still in Queens, to be honest. But
No,
you know what?
Queens is south of. You have to take a train to get to Queens.
I've been to NYC once, like when I was 10. That's all. uh, so yeah, he's out there in Midtown doing his thing, punching people. Of course, the camera's not going to focus in on him, for legal and for story reasons. There's no point. He
So
wasn't
I'm
built up.
wondering. It sucks though, because it feels like Spider-Man would really add something to this storyline, and I want.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to see
Yeah.
it, but we're never going to get the chance, probably. You know,
Yeah, I said without like 100 pounds of legal paperwork and having to severely reshape the entire season to justify it instead of Tom Holland pumping in being like, "Hey man, I'm helping out." And then like, he stops it and then he fucking fucks off. Like they're never going to do
The
that.
thing is, it is exclusively Sony playing hardball right now, because Marvel has made it very clear that they included Matt Murdock in No Way Home. They include
Mhm.
whatever character needs to be in the movie to support the story in whatever Spider-Man movie they need. We've had Tony Stark, Nick Fury, Doctor Strange. We've had a bunch of other characters specific to the MCU in those movies. And it's Sony who's just like, no, why would we let you put Spider-Man in your little TV show? Why would we make a movie that supports your little TV show?
Exactly. Even though they put Daredevil in No Way Home and they were just like, "Oh, it's a little fan thing. Oh, this movie's just going to be full of fanfare." Which sucks, dude. But hey, Marvel went bankrupt back in the 90s and sold off all their character rights. So now we're just kind of dealing with the aftermath of that.
Yep, and
Can you
continuing
imagine how?
the plot of the episode,
Right.
with the Punisher trying to form a city state, or I'm sorry, Kingpin trying to form a city state. The Punisher decides, you know what? I need to get back in action. I'm going to go to Red Hook Pier, and I'm just going to kill everybody. But there's too many of them there. He gets overpowered, overwhelmed, and is taken prisoner.
Yeah. Faces a room full of cops with their shitty, like, Daredevil replica. Or no, their shitty Punisher replica
which
a
is
body
the
armor.
that's the Punisher skull that the comics used when they wanted to move away from the one that was adopted by a bunch of hate groups.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah, that it's
And
funny
then
that they're like now they're like, "Oh, the one that we used to replace that represents the hate group."
and then the cops are just like, Frank, we all admire you. We'd really like it if you joined us. I'm like, you're asking Frank fucking Castle to join a bunch of body cam off police officers? Seriously?
I wanted Officer Powell to die so badly. I hate
Same. He's
looking
a
at that guy's
shithead cop.
face.
He's like the face of like police corruption here. The guy who's just like, I'm just trying to do my job, and if my job requires me like killing people in the process, so be it. And he's trying to be a vigilante without any of the fucking moral code. He's hiding behind the badge when most of them do hide behind a mask. Like, hey, you want to go out and dole your own fucking brand of dumb fucking justice? Put on spandex, you motherfucker.
I do like the idea that they offer Frank Castle a chance to lead them, and it's
Hmm.
like, dude, you're working for the guy he is against. You like, are you? It's reflective of the real world.
I think they're more Punisher fanboys than they are Kingpin fanboys, or they're gonna assume like he'll kind of meld into that whole thing. I don't know what the thinking is there because he obviously came in and killed 4 of your guys. I don't know if like swaying him by just having a bunch of cops surround him and then beating him to a pulp is gonna change his fucking mind. If anything, he's gonna come out and kill you guys even worse.
I'm gonna explain the thinking behind there. Punisher resembles like that
Hmm.
super like toxic, like, oh, murder everybody, and he says it himself. Like, you don't understand my pain. You don't understand why I do this. You are just playing dress up, basically. Like, you're pretending to be me. You were given permission to be me, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
But
um. You
so
were you were given permission, called them a bunch of clowns, which was my favorite part.
yeah, he
Also, when I
called
was
them the
scrubbing through that
circus.
footage, just a little funny editors thing, because when I was like placing those scenes in, John Berthal's body did not move, but his head was like rocking back and forth. Did you notice that or no?
No, I didn't notice that.
That's funny. If you scrub back through that, you're gonna be like, he's just like his head's just moving out, his body just still. I thought it was CGI for a second. I was like, did you guys post that of him? No, wait, no, he's just really rock solid there. Um,
But while Punisher is being confronted by the anti-vigilante task force,
having his
Kingpin is
face punched in.
confronting Police Commissioner Gallo,
Oh, here we go.
and
Okay, here we go.
in a room surrounded by his anti-vigilante task force,
It's like a
Wilson Fisk grabs the guy's head and squeezes it until it explodes.
yeah. He pulled a mountain on him, or what I texted you last night. I said Marvel Studios saw what the boys did and said we got to match that.
Did I send you the picture of the prosthetic yet?
No, you didn't.
Okay, well, I'll save it. I'm gonna throw it up on screen right now because
So,
they put a behind the scenes picture of. I see Spider-Man is trending on Twitter right now. I wonder why.
my brother in Christ, you are on fraud watch. A lot of people are going to be like saying, "Hey, the neighborhood is fucking burning. Aren't you the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? What the fuck is going on?"
I'm throwing. I just threw the prosthetic for Gallo on
Oh
screen.
yeah, I see it. Yep, I see it. I see
But
it.
you
That's
could see
great.
like the line where the jaw was supposed to unhinge and God,
Hmm.
I saw somebody say like, "Oh, this is so unrealistic." It's like, dude, who cares? It's cool.
It is pretty cool. Yeah. Like, what do
Which
you want them to actually bring like a cadaver in there
oh,
and fucking do it for?
I
That's just
definitely
like
want this
egregious.
I want this show that takes place in a universe where superheroes exist to be as realistic as possible. Like, I definitely want that.
Yeah. But at least we know now that Marvel is like not afraid to show gore when it's required or when it's like makes story sense.
It
So
it
that's definitely the good part.
it really like shocked me. I was like, they're definitely gonna cut away before the full
Hmm.
smash
Nope.
happens. But
Nope. They showed you him smooshing it. Hey man, they've been experimenting with some of the stuff that they are not famous for previously, like Matt Murdock having sex in the shower, or back in Agatha All Along with Catherine Hahn's bare ass on the fucking screen, and Gallows' fucking head getting crushed in. They're doing little peaks and valleys there. The only thing that they will never allow is hard drugs on screen, which I get. It's not HBO.
I'm trying to think. I feel like well,
Daniel Blake mentioned
Karen.
ketamine, but he never did it on screen. The worst they'll do is like alcohol shots. That's the worst they'll do.
I think Karen Page does coke in Daredevil season 3.
Oh, I meant Marvel Studios. Regular Marvel on Netflix definitely let it slide, but not Marvel Studios.
Well, I don't know that I consider that.
They made a whole joke about that in Deadpool and Wolverine. Do you remember? They were like, Feige said no to cocaine, and then they kept listing the names for cocaine.
Oh well,
I'm assuming they wanted to do a joke on that. They wanted to see how far they could push it, and he was just like, no hard drugs on screen. I'll let you do anything else, just no hard drugs
I
on
think
screen.
Deadpool and Wolverine is different from Daredevil though.
Yeah, definitely. And they let the smoking slide because Henry Cavill had a cigar in his mouth.
That's a common Wolverine thing, but
Yeah.
yeah. After Kingpin fully returns, he makes his announcement to the city, which I when they cut to black right there, I was like, is that the end of the is that how the season's gonna end?
That would have been pretty cool if that was the ending, because I would have been like, Twitter's gonna fucking implode. But no, that was the end of Kingpin's like straight face like fucking
Something I was gonna point
monologue.
out is how he changed his body language for that last shot. Did you notice how
Oh,
he
and
was
so
standing?
standing over his desk as if he was talking down to the people of New York.
Well,
Yeah.
no. So that's a cinematography thing. Is that when you stand up like that, that you are showing
Hmm.
somebody in power, which is why a
Higher.
lot
Yeah.
of the times they'll do like shots of politicians when they film them. They're all eye level because they want to be speaking directly to you, not at you. That's what he was getting there. He had the power in that moment, so he was standing up looking down. And
Oh,
that's
sweet.
that is the intention there. But not only that, the sinister everything about what he said was so sinister, and I'm excited to see what people think about that.
That's you could hear the camera buzzing too when he was just like, "I love New York," and then that little smile at the end.
Oh, that smile is the stuff of
Little,
nightmares.
little unhinged, little bit of a. Oh, that looks like the face of a man who turned to another guy into into a smushed watermelon. That's the look of that guy.
And the episode itself ends with a monologue from Matt Murdock. He's talking to Karen Page about how he didn't think he would confront the darkness, and we're kind of putting the pieces in place for season 2. They need to assemble an army. That's
While
the
Radiohead's "Everything in the Right Place" plays.
yeah.
Yes.
As soon as that kicked on, I was just like, God damn, have they used this before? I couldn't
Nope.
remember.
I don't think so. No. Funny thing was, I was listening to that song like the day before, so when it kicked on, I was like, "Oh, come on, you're
But
using this song." But
so they need to assemble an army. We see Angela Del Toro observing some of the anti-vigilante task force. So I'm pretty sure she's going to be a White Tiger next season. I think that's a pretty clear indication.
Hmm.
And we see a group of people associated with Daredevil and who we've seen throughout the season and the previous Netflix series assembled at Josie's bar. And this is where I was getting the really heavy Andor vibes, where it's like, oh, the people are going to rise up and fight against Fisk here.
Yeah, it's definitely a bunch of police officers who don't agree with the way that everything is going. Some of Matt's like closest confidants, including Karen. And I really thought that we were gonna get like maybe a defender or two, but apparently not.
I think we're moving towards that for season 2.
Yeah, they don't want to like pop that up and show them off and say where the fuck were they last season. I
Well,
think they're definitely
you also
gonna
have to
flashback.
consider the fact that getting those characters back, they have to sign all new contracts. Like their Netflix
Hmm.
contracts don't apply to Disney Plus. So when they show up, it's like, oh, that's a guarantee that we are going to get you back for more seasons. So we're going to need to renegotiate. We need to figure out that people are going to want to see this first.
Okay.
So
I mean, they could.
this episode ends.
Hold on. Oh,
They're
wait.
going to fight another day. The people are going to take back the city. I realized my mic was muted when I said that. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I was just like, it just went silent for a second. What the fuck just happened?
the people are going to take back the city, and the promise of the defenders reassembling is open for the next season. Because right now, I've got to imagine that Matt doesn't know where they are.
No,
And
Luke is probably in Harlem somewhere.
I think
Iron Fist.
they're going to put Jessica Jones and Luke Cage together. They're going to have a family.
Oh yeah, definitely,
And Iron Fist,
definitely.
who knows?
Yeah, Marvel didn't really seem interested in bringing Iron Fist back, or maybe they'll retool him, maybe a little bit.
I think he deserves a second chance.
Yeah, yeah. Give him a second chance. If he fucks up that one, then well, I guess move on. You know.
And yeah, that's kind of where the episode ends for the most part. The promise that the defenders are going to come. However, I did want to talk about one moment specifically that ties into my theory. So while we're seeing
Go
a
on.
montage of all of the characters who we've seen throughout the season, we get Kirsten McDuffie looking at the Red Hook Pier ledger. And there's something about this shot where it's left pretty ambiguous. I think the implication is that Matt left it for her, but she doesn't seem very surprised. So I'm thinking it ties into my theory that she was a mole.
The whole time.
I it just feels like that. Heather is also appointed as the mental health official for Fisk's office.
It's crazy how much she did a heel turn, right? She just does not want to accept that Fisk is doing anything wrong. Just by being his mental health therapist or like marriage counselor, right? Does that not seem weird to anybody else?
Well, that's Fisk's whole thing is he is supposed to be very manipulative, and yeah, he's working against Matt here. But also now we have a love triangle between Karen, Matt, and Heather.
God damn, Matt gets all the luck.
What did how did this episode start too? When he wakes up in the hospital, he says Karen.
Yeah, he's just like, Karen, wait. Who's Karen? Oh, somebody that used to be close to me, I guess. But he didn't want to cry in that moment.
So they yeah, the pieces are all in place for Daredevil Born Again season 2. I wonder if they're
You
going
mean
to keep
everything's
that
in the right place?
subtitle. I wonder if they're going to do I wonder if the subtitle will change every season. I would kind of like that because I think we're past calling it Born Again at this point.
What do you want to call the next season? Daredevil Baptist?
No, Daredevil Devil's Reign.
Oh, Protestant.
These
I'm
are
kidding.
just words. They don't have any meaning. You're just saying words.
Born Again is technically a denomination of Christian. You know, it just the born again double meaning behind the whatever. All right, I'm just spitballing here. They're probably gonna call it Born Again again,
I think
just to keep
I
it
think
not
Devil's
confusing.
Reign is a better subtitle. I would like them to change the subtitle season to season.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it either, but I'm assuming for marketing purposes, they're probably just gonna keep it the same.
Well, the marketing is Daredevil. Daredevil is the title. I just feel like it's such a mouthful to say, "Oh yeah, Daredevil Born Again season 2," where you could just say, "Oh yeah, this season of Daredevil called Devil's Reign." Because I think
Yeah,
of
that
Born
makes
Again as
sense
the season subtitle, not as the show name.
because this season is him being born again as Daredevil.
It's essentially a season 4 in a way.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
But thinking about it, like, do you know what the newest season of The Walking Dead is called?
What is it called?
I'm sorry,
Wait,
it's
wait,
not.
wait, wait, wait,
It's
wait, wait,
not. It's not the
wait.
newest
The
season of The
Walking
Walking.
Dead, Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's such a fucking stupid mouthful.
such a
Like
bad
Daryl
title.
Dixon, The Book of Carol. What the fuck is that? Whatever.
Well,
I know
they have
Robert
to.
Kirkman's no longer like
They.
keeping an
I
eye on
think it
that
was
shit.
just the show was called The Walking Dead hyphen or colon Daryl Dixon, and then they were like, well, this is Daryl Dixon season 2, The Book of Carol, and then they were like, well, we have to include The Walking Dead in there for SEO purposes.
Instead of just calling it Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol, where it's just like, what the fuck is this? What am I looking at here?
They call season 2
Uh,
Daredevil Born Again season 2 colon Devil's Reign. But
I'd say
we also get a post credit scene, which before when the skip credits thing came up, I was like, huh, no post credit scene, and then I was surprised by one. What did you
did
think it
you
was
click
going to
skip
be?
credits and then jump right to it?
What?
Did you click the skip credits and it jumped right to it?
Yeah.
Oh, huh, interesting. Uh, what did I think it was going to
Before
be?
it popped up, what did you think it was going to be? What did you want it to be?
I something with some other hero probably doing something down on the streets of New York, you know? Probably like one of the defenders, maybe. Like it would have been cool to see something or like somebody's looking out their window, like maybe it's Luke or something, seeing like the entire town in chaos and he's just like, "All right, I got to step back in."
Well, I was thinking that it could have been a defender returning, but I was happy to see that that they're saving that, but
Mhm.
also that they wrapped up Punisher being. We also forgot to mention all of the elites and the socialites, including Jack Duquesne, are uh, being held prisoner at Red Hook Pier, including Frank Castle.
Oh man, yeah. This
And
this like this whole series better end with like Kingpin's legitimate actual death. Like he can't pull all this shit pissing off this many people without having the entire city have like a target on his back.
Well, and the post-credit scene is Frank Castle escaping from the prison, which I think good. I'm glad we saw that because a lot of
Mhm.
people would have been like, "Why isn't Frank Castle?" I feel like he should be able to escape or something along the lines of that. I'm
Yeah.
glad that we saw him actually escape because
Yeah, and
it
he did
sets
it
up.
to the dumbest fucking guard in the world where he was just like, "Hey Anthony, where you from?" Like a prisoner's talking to you, one of the most dangerous prisoners in the entire
But they're
facility,
fans of Frank
and you're just gonna
Castle.
give him your hand? Oh my god, it's such a fucking dumbass. Still, like, never meet your heroes because he'll break your fucking arm in half and strangle you. I
But no,
want Kingpin
Kingpin's
to
not
die
gonna
until he
die.
gets to be a Spider-Man
Kingpin,
villain.
he's just not going to die. I think this is going to
He's
end
pissing
in
off
a.
so many
It
people.
doesn't matter.
Like, if Matt doesn't kill him, Punisher will. If Punisher doesn't kill him, the Swordsman will.
Dude,
Any one of these
he has been
socialites might
shot in the
hire a
head
hitman on him.
already.
Oh my god, yeah, you can't get rid of.
But yeah, and I think what this is building towards is like a street level battle. Like we are going to see an actual battle in the streets of New York.
Oh, you mean like the scene in Dark Knight Rises where it's just the cops versus the
Yeah,
Bane's army?
I think it'll be a little similar to that. One thing I'm wondering
That'll be
is,
cool.
also, Dex is still out there. He's hiding out. They
Yeah.
they kind of wrap that up a little bit. I didn't love his wrap up, but I guess we'll see what they do with him in season 2.
Screen Crush mentioned the fact that Dex was like in front of like a broken plane of glass, and then Daredevil was in front of like a not broken plane of glass, which shows that they were like exact opposites. Did you catch on that or no?
I mean, I guess, but I don't really see what the relevance is there, because it's
I
like
don't know. I just figured I'd bring it up.
I don't know.
I
Screen
think
Crush is always just like really grasping for straws.
they are some of their things. It's a little deeper than I think it is. Sometimes they're on the money. Sometimes I'm just like, I mean, yeah, you gotta pad out this 20-minute video, I guess, but you know. Let's see. I think the unresolved Dex thing was the biggest surprise to me. I kind of just vanished, or he kind of just vanished. Dex can't be killed off. He's like Daredevil's reverse Flash. That's what some of the comments are saying.
And yeah, I'm glad he wasn't, you know, they didn't rush through that storyline, and that he was a big he was like in a battle at the end of the show. Like we have the opportunity to see him return next season, and I'm
Mhm.
excited to see that.
Definitely.
I'm excited to see Daredevil get his stealth costume.
Yeah, with the actual Daredevil lettering on it.
I've got to be the only person on the face of the planet who doesn't care if he has that.
I don't care either, but it still kind of looks cool.
It does look cool, but there are so many people who were so upset and enraged that he didn't have that he's never gotten the 2Ds.
He's getting it next season, so they can finally
But,
shut up.
but like my whole like I'm totally fine if he has it, but my whole thing is that Daredevil is not supposed to be wasn't supposed to be a symbol like Spider-Man, like Batman. Like he wasn't supposed to have a symbol. He was supposed to work in the shadows and nobody would know who he was. But now he is moving more towards being a symbol because that's what the city needs.
Yeah, they need a hero that. What was that Dark Knight thing again? Like, they have a hero that he deserves or some shit. Like, I
hero
always
that
get
the
confused with
city
that.
needs, not the one the hero the city deserves, not the one it needs.
There we go. That's what I meant. Yeah, and you could tell he was talking about that when he was saying his whole rebel, resist, rebuild line at the end. Oh shit! Please, all that white stuff you made, strap-ons. What the fuck?
Don't read that. Don't
Yeah.
read that.
Yeah.
Some fucking
The
spammer
fuck
in
was that?
there.
Jesus. I was like, chat popping off that crazy? Yeah, no. Fuck that. Anyway, so yeah, we're leading into season 2. What are some of your predictions?
I want to continue this. So my
Oh,
whole
okay.
thing is that Daredevil prior to this moment didn't need branding. he
Yes.
just didn't. But it's cool that we're getting
The
it
devil
now.
horns are kind of the branding themselves. Like, you know, the devil's Hell's Kitchen.
But I just mean
Duh,
like
like
giving him a logo. It's like they just didn't need it. But now
putting a hat on a hat, isn't
they
it?
have an in-canon reason for why he would do that for himself. So he's no longer just the devil of Hell's Kitchen, that he is Daredevil.
He is the symbol that the city needs to resist the mayor. Yeah. All right, well, let's just ban this guy right now.
I already did. That's on a separate account.
Seriously? Okay. All right, we got that down. So, um, what else are we tackling here? But yeah, definitely gonna have some crazy.
I'm taking care of it. Don't worry. Keep talking.
Cool. Definitely that. Hold on, let me find my train of thought again. Definitely going to be a symbol for the next season. Definitely going to try this whole, military opposition rebel resistance leader. Because if you think about it, it's like a miniature version of Star Wars, kind of. He's the resistance,
Well,
they're the
that's what I was
empire.
saying with it's like an Andor parallel almost, or like I was getting the Andor vibes.
Yeah. I have a theory that with the city in chaos, they need Daredevil more than ever. Matt will probably use a symbol to give people hope that the show that he gets the double D's on his suit. Yeah, that makes sense.
Taking care of it. Don't worry. Stop reading it.
I'm not reading that part. Yeah, and then Justin says Andor season 2 coming up. What great timing.
That is not what that person's name is. Rash.
just Jason, not just Justin. Sorry. So yeah, we have that. I think that there's going to be some things in the next season. Definitely going to be a lead in into Spider-Man Brand New Day. It has to do. It has to be.
I think they're going to be mentioned in Brand New Day, possibly. I think we could see a mention. Or maybe even Matt Murdock turning up. But a lot of the rumors are exactly what I said they were going to be. That Brand New Day is going to happen concurrently with Doomsday.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense.
But do you have any other big predictions for season 2? I think we kind of tackled everything.
Yeah, I think we did as well. I think there's really everything's been pretty much painted out. We're gonna see Matt and Fisk go at it. I don't know if Fisk is gonna die at the end of the season or what. I think that next season's probably gonna be the last for a bit because I don't know if they're gonna go 8 seasons of Daredevil Born Again. That'd be awesome, but what could you do? There's still that overarching
it
plot
seemed
that
like
they
the
need to take
original
care of.
intention was to make Daredevil a recurring seasonal thing.
To quench the thirst for like the street level stuff.
We're gonna
So
have
do you
to
think like
see what happens with. So this is my idea. Daredevil Born Again is going to be the. Well, all right. I don't know what happened there. Daredevil Born
yeah.
Again is going to be their street level Marvel show. They're not going to redo the Netflix thing of being like, oh, this is Daredevil and this is Jessica Jones and this is Luke Cage and this is Iron Fist, and they all meet up in the Defenders, and Jessica Jones is going to get a season 2 and Luke Cage is going to get a season 2, and because it became too much to keep up with.
And that's what Marvel is trying to avoid right now with all their other series as well. So,
But
yeah.
they take a character like Daredevil who has mass appeal. Clearly, I think a lot of people really enjoyed this show, and the viewers kind of increased week to week. I do really want to see the viewership numbers for it, but Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, they don't have the same mass appeal as Daredevil. And we had the best Jessica Jones storyline adapted in season 1 of that show. Season 2 and season 3 kind of fall off a little bit quality wise, but making her a recurring character in Daredevil makes sense.
It does make sense. And I feel like if they move on to the later seasons, I think that Daredevil could possibly be like a nexus for all the street level stuff. So if they want to introduce another
That's
street level character,
exactly
they
what I
pump that in.
just said, Arash.
Sorry. I was just trying to say it in a different way because you already made all the good points. I was trying to figure it out from there.
The
Fucker.
thing is, and this is kind of what the video I'm making right now is saying, is that Sony kind of has most of the street level characters locked up.
Who do they have left? They don't
Well,
have
like
Kingpin.
they've got Black Cat, they've got any character that's associated with Spider-Man right now.
Ah, fuck yeah, you're
So
right.
even like a lot
Except
of
for
the
the
street level villains fall under Sony's umbrella.
yeah, you're right. Even Shocker can't possibly show up. Could you
Yeah,
imagine
and
Shocker and Daredevil fighting?
Shocker would make a lot of sense. I want Shocker to
Yeah.
turn up again because I like that actor quite a bit.
Yeah, but nope, they're not gonna happen because, like, Spider-Man's reserved for like the big threats, like Doctor Doom. I wonder who the main villain of Brand New Day is gonna be, though.
It's gonna be Mr. Negative.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Well,
cool.
that's who
That'll be cool.
the villain of Brand New Day, the comic storyline, is.
Oh, sick. I can't wait till that then.
That is still the rumor, but if Sadie Sink is going to be Jackpot, which seems like they're lining up for, getting Mr. Negative in
Oh,
there makes a lot of sense.
so they're jumping right to Jackpot. They're not giving Mary Jane like the whole setup.
Well, I mean, like depending on the costume they give Jackpot, I could see them kind of working around that. But like the thing is, go read Brand New Day if you don't know who Jackpot is.
Yeah.
They could explain it a lot better than I can because I'd be going off memory. But I think it's a character named Sarah something. Jackpot is currently Mary Jane in the Marvel universe, though.
Okay.
But when Jackpot shows up in Brand New Day, it was unknown if it was Mary Jane. So they kind of played around with that idea of it. But also, the name comes from Mary Jane's first interaction with Peter Parker.
That's cool. Also, just Jason also said, also please get Blade into the MCU before the street level team up.
The thing is, Blade, yeah, I could see him street level, but like, what does he belong on a team with that's going after Kingpin? Really? He's more of a
he's more of a
supernatural
vampire hunter. Yeah. He's more on par with like Doctor Strange and those folks. Like in their mystical, magical
this
world.
idea that actors are being like locked into there was one that said Mahershala Ali wasted like 6 years of his life on a Blade movie that's never going to be made, and it's like that's just movie making in general. It's just they announced that movie way too soon.
Yeah. Well, because I think they thought they had a good script initially, and also this part of like the whole Marvel's whole quantity versus quality phase.
Well, so
before they switched back,
no, Blade never really had a good script. They never had.
They just announced the idea, and they thought they were gonna get it by the time that the film was set to shoot.
Yeah, but because Blade was initially when they announced all those projects, it was like this is Phase 4. But Phase 4 became like split into Phase 5, and I think some Phase 4 projects that they announced there became Phase 6.
Oh yeah.
The thing is, like, I would like a Blade movie, but I think if we're gonna do Blade and we want to get the ball rolling on that, doing a special presentation might be the best way forward.
Definitely. Yeah. No, a special presentation might just be all they need. But I feel like for a character that big, they might want to do something bigger with him. So I don't think necessarily that they'll be like, throw him into a special presentation on Disney+.
The thing is, Blade is big to people like you and me. What does Blade mean to man on the street? Like, oh yeah, those Wesley Snipes movies from the 90s.
Yeah, you're right. Isn't that the one where Ryan Reynolds was in there playing like an asshole?
That was Blade Trinity.
Yep.
Wesley Snipes wasn't even there for that for most of it.
Was he not?
Have you ever heard those stories?
Oh no, I remember Patton Oswalt saying like he refused to open his eyes during one scene, and he had everyone calling him Blade,
He
and like he was handing
communicated
out
with the
post-it
director,
notes.
yeah, exclusively with
Yep,
post-it
the post-it
notes.
note. What the fuck was up with him? What the
It
fuck?
was right before he was in jail.
For tax evasion.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That's
Maybe he was
something
in.
broke in Wesley Snipes' mind, bro. What the fuck is that kind of like behavior?
I don't know. He's a wild card, but
Surprised they let him on the set for Deadpool and Wolverine.
yeah, and you know what? He did. I liked him in Deadpool and Wolverine, and I feel like
Yeah, no, he did a good job.
it sucks because I feel like that kind of created the idea of, do we need to reboot Blade? Could we just
Recast
bring this
Blade,
Blade
yeah.
over?
Bring back Wesley Snipes again. I mean, I don't think he'd mind doing it, but like Mahershala Ali as Blade would be really fucking cool.
It would be really cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's all. What did you think of this season in general?
So pretty much like everyone else, it started off strong with the first episode. I really liked it, and then the we were fighting with that whole creative overhaul thing where the show was trying to find its footing, and we were just like, are they doing this? Are they doing that? But overall, it wasn't bad. It was a little tepid during the middle parts. The Muse episode definitely kind of had me worried, and then they redeemed themselves right at the end with the Benson and Moorhead episodes.
Yeah, I kind of feel similarly. I think that the show did start very strong. It was going on the
Mhm.
right track. The Muse storyline in general kind of derailed everything a little bit.
Yeah, you could. I don't even know if that was Benson and Moorhead at
It
that point. I
wasn't.
think that they just
It
had
it
that. Okay,
100% was not.
cool. So they just like had to work with it then. That's why they skipped past it so hard.
The rumor is that Muse will be in season 2. It's not confirmed yet though. I think somebody saw the costume on set, but it is still a rumor. I'm not really convinced of anything until we
I
actually
think
see
they
it.
I think they just genuinely made Muse a regular guy in this season or this series. I think they just made him a guy who got capped.
That's exactly
I don't know
what
if
they
they're gonna
did,
throw any.
and I think a
Yeah,
lot
they
of
just
people
made
are
him a
upset
regular
about
guy.
that because Muse in the comics is a lot more interesting.
Well, like there's a lot of characters that have been changed from the comics as well, and I guess Muse was just a means to an end. He wasn't the main villain; he was the side villain.
One thing they can do is if they want to make Muse a villain in season 2, they have the opportunity to bring him back. But I think the storyline, how it wrapped up in this season, did not work. I maintain that,
Nope.
especially with this episode kind of acting as closure to everything.
Yep. And the fact is, if they throw him in, if the next season is just going to be wall to wall, like Fisk is the dictatorial mayor of New York City, and no one in the government stepping in, which isn't quite a surprise anymore. But like, how are they going to fit in Muse possibly during that entire thing? The entire thing's going to be Daredevil and his army trying to stop Fisk throughout the entire 9 episode span.
I could see like a Muse copycat being a thing in this next season, but we'll have to wait and see. But right now, the main storyline is, as it should be, Matt Murdock versus Wilson Fisk.
Quite possibly. That's just how it's going to be. I don't think Muse should make any really um I don't think Muse should really be making like any big comeback because there's no point in having him back. How is he going to serve the story?
That's kind of where I am. I don't. If they do
Yeah.
include him again, it's going to be in a way people aren't really like happy with. It seems like.
I'm kind of more interested in seeing Kingpin or Fisk doing dictator shit in New York City. I'm kind of more interested in that than seeing a supernatural serial killer stalking the streets again. Because Matt's going to be a little bit distracted with, trying to take down Fisk versus when Fisk was just the mayor of New York City and not necessarily doing anything crazy.
Yeah, and that's the but that's going to be the main crux of season 2 of the show, is just that battle against order
Yep.
and chaos.
Yep.
But that's going to do it for this final week of Daredevil Born Again talk.
Yeah.
I also didn't even consider, like, Elektra could turn up again, possibly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Make it
She definitely
a
could.
love square rather than a love triangle.
Matt's got too much charisma. Way too much. It's
That
almost
man is the
dangerous.
Riz master.
He is You know, I just realized that Riz is short for charisma.
You just realized that?
Yep, I was listening to like a podcast and they were just like Riz, charisma. Oh, okay. I was like, it never clicked for me.
Yeah, that is what that means. But to answer the question in the chat, season 3 doesn't even touch on Elektra being dead. She just wasn't at the site where they found Matt Murdock. But like I said, that's going to do it for this final week of Daredevil Talk. Will we return next week and start watching a different show? Let's see.
Rest of us.
How many episodes of Agents of Shield are there?
Oh my god, no, fuck that.
Hey, if we watch one episode a week though.
You're missing out on the greatest season of TV of all time, Andor season 2. Huh.
Oh, well,
Well,
Andor is
Andor,
going to be covered over on TapCaf Transmissions.
yeah, and our other channels such as Eckhart's Ladder. So, they're gonna cover that.
Let's see. Jesus, there's a lot of it. There are 136 episodes of Agents of Shield.
Fuck that,
There's a
dude.
22 episode first season. Ooh, wow, the ratings drop for that show is crazy. I didn't even know that they were airing episodes in 2020.
They were.
Yeah, that's the last season.
I know at some point they go into an alternate dimension or some shit.
I know. Yeah, I've heard that there's like time travel or something. I don't know. Maybe we'll come back and do that again next week. We'll see. We'll see. But we'll definitely be back for Ironheart, which will not.
Yeah, any Marvel show will probably keep this going as our post show. Maybe go back and rewatch old Daredevil.
I just did that though. That's the only thing,
Yeah,
is
he just
I'd
did.
be rewatching it again after having just watched it.
I think Last of Us season 2 right now is going on,
No, I
but
don't
I don't
want
know
to
if
talk
there's any
about
peak
that.
interest. You don't want to? Okay,
I don't want to talk
got it.
about it because the
Quickly shut it
audience
down.
that we would get for conversation about The Last of Us would be awful.
Fair.
Oh yeah, we should do this again for Thunderbolts, I think. That should be.
Thunderbolts. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll
definitely.
do a one-off stream for Thunderbolts, probably on the, because I'm going to see it on the Thursday. So probably Friday, May 2nd, we would come back and do that.
May 1st is when the Thunderbolts comes out, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll schedule my ticket then for that.
It's the man's job, and he didn't even know.
I knew it was somewhere in May.
But yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll throw a poll up, and if we get enough viewers, like, we'll start doing that, because it really it depends on the views we get, because this is an hour and a half out of our days. I wanted to do this because it seemed like a good alternative to making a review of each episode after they come out, so we could talk about just everything around the show. But we'll see what happens. But that is going to do it for our final Daredevil Born Again discussion for Season 1. I can't wait for Season 2. We will be back to discuss Thunderbolts in 2 weeks.
Yes.
We'll schedule that way ahead of time if you want to join us for that. But thank you so much for coming out, especially if you came out week after week to hang out with us and discuss Daredevil. Yeah, thank you for showing up, and we
Thank you.
will
We
we
appreciate
will
you.
also be back tomorrow over on X2 for more Schedule 1. That stream is scheduled already. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.